Like, you won't believe the supermarket. You won't believe what I saw. It freaked me the F out. The tale of two grocery stores in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. One is very, very civilized. The other, not so civilized. What am I talking about? Find out. In today's video, we're going to go over two of many supermarkets that are in the gritty city of Phnom Penh, Cambodia. This first one is westernized. It's called the Eon Mall Market in Sensuk, which is north of where I'm at. It's about a 20-minute tuk-tuk drive up there. Like I said, it is located in the mall, so it's convenient because if you need to get other things besides your groceries, or you want to get something, they got cool restaurants on the third floor. You want to get something to eat, you can go and get yourself a nice meal, maybe have a little ice cream. Maybe you want to go find a pair of shorts or something. So you can get all that shopping done in one spot. And then you go and hit the grocery store and grab all your stuff, jump in your tuk-tuk, and split back home. That's exactly what I do, and I absolutely love it. But like I said, there are many, many different types of grocery stores. Now, of course, could you do it cheaper than a grocery store? Yes, you could hit the markets on the street. You can get your produce and your meat off the street. But then again, it has its caveats, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But first of all, I want to show you what under $35 worth of groceries looks like. The grocery store is very clean and modern looking. Okay, there's many aisles in the grocery store, many different types of fruits and vegetables, locally grown and actually sourced in from Japan, Korea, all over the world, sourced in. Even apples from America are sitting on the shelf. You can shop local like I do, and you can keep your prices low. Or you might get a craving for some Western food, like, I don't know, they got Spam on the shelf, okay? You can buy yourself a can of Spam. Now, they don't call it Spam, it's got another name, but you can pick up a can of that for, like, I don't know, $8 if you really, really want Spam. Or you can get, westernized peanut butter for like $6 a jar. But that's like a splurge to me. That's like a every now and then, let me get something. But most of the time, I buy local and I eat local. And, what they do, besides laying out their produce really nice, is they have a really clean, nice meat section. Now, there are big chops of fish and seafood and meat and steak and all of that is like behind glass counters. And you can ask, the person behind the counter, hey, can I have a pound of that or whatever? Well, over here, they do it in grams, or kilograms. Keep that in mind. Don't ask me to convert. I think, and I'll have to put it on the screen. I think, is it 100 kilograms equals a pound? Something like that. Maybe I'm off. I know I'm probably off. I'm killing it. So yeah, so the meat's packaged up. It's clean. It's fresh. It's, it's good. It's good stuff. And like I said, I can get all my produce, all my steak, chicken, whatever I want, sausage. I can usually get it for under $35. And that feeds me for about a week because I go shopping on the 7th of every day. So that food that I buy lasts me usually 2 meals a day because by the time I wake up, I don't really have my breakfast until lunchtime. So I really only eat around noon and 6 p.m., especially when I'm at my house. And I usually don't snack in between. That's just me. That's my lifestyle, okay? So I don't buy a lot of junk snacks. Now, every now and then I'll get a craving for, I don't know, some chocolate, or I'll get a craving for peanut butter, or I'll get a craving for popcorn. So I'll do a little splurge and then I'll have that little extra, but still, doesn't matter how I mix and match my bags of groceries, I always walk out spending less than $35. And I got the receipts to prove it, right? And that's just me. So if you're a couple and you're coming to Cambodia and Phnom Penh, which is considered one of the more expensive places out in Cambodia, I imagine you guys can get away with $70 or less, depending on who wants what. Maybe $80, maybe you guys got to compromise. You want a big cake or something, right? So you can get away on the cheap and eat really well. You're not going to starve out here. Does this girl look like she'd be starving? Because I don't be starving, okay? So anyway, yeah. And another thing I like about this grocery store, besides, the food's packaged, wrapped up, it's clean, they're friendly. If you know Florida, I'm from Florida, in case you guys don't know, if you're just watching, hallelujah. I'm from Orlando, Florida, and we have a supermarket chain that's called Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. They're all in their little green uniforms. The store is super clean, and they bag your groceries. Well, the Eon Mall supermarket reminds me of Publix back home. They bag your groceries. They're very polite. They wear cute little pink uniforms. They're pink. They're like a fuchsia pink. And everybody's super friendly in there. And like, you can ask anybody a question. Now, I'm not going to say they all speak English because most of them don't. They don't run into too many Westerners out there. They run into a lot of people from France. So most of them know French, but they don't know English too well. So, I mean, hey, if you can get away with the oui, monsieur, then you'll be just fine. But yeah, it reminds me of Publix. And I like shopping there. I guess it is a pleasure in the Eon Mall and Sunsock. But now we're going to give a comparison to the second store. Let's go into the living room. We're going to have a little chit chat about that place. Okay, now that we're over here, let's talk about the second store. This place is called Macro Cambodia, or whatever you want to call it. It's also near the Eon Mall, Sensuk location. It's maybe a mile south of there, okay? Now, what makes this place different? If you can imagine, okay, like if you're from the States like I am, if you can imagine Costco, you know Costco? Those big warehouse places where you can buy everything in bulk, right? That's what Macro is like. It's a place to go buy not only food in bulk, but toilet paper, etc., etc. They sell everything in this place, and it's quite impressive. What's really cool about Macro is you don't need a membership. Even though it says it's a club, unlike Costco, you don't have to pay for a membership to get in. You can just walk off the street, get a buggy, and start shopping. And that's what's really cool about Macro. So, all right, I've never been there before, right? So I'm like, everybody raved about it. Oh, you should check out Macro. You should check out Macro. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to Macro this weekend. Let me go get my groceries in Macro. Because I asked before I went, I was asking somebody, I was like, can I just pick up like small things? Like, I don't need 20 pounds of carrots, I just need a carrot, I can get a big carrot. I'm happy. And they're like, yeah, you can go shop there and just buy things small, right? But you just get a better deal. I said, cool. So I go there. You walk in, you're immediately impressed. This place is huge. It's just this huge, huge warehouse. Everything's in it. I mean, everything from lounge chairs to chicken wings, okay? They got everything. The only thing I don't like about Macro is like, since I'm not a bulk shopping type of person, I would rather not shop in bulk. What can I say? Like, the sections that I would shop in at Macro are small compared to the Eon supermarket. Like, for instance, their produce section is smaller and has less choices in there, right? Not that the prices aren't good, but there's less to pick from compared to the other supermarket. Another thing, and it's not as roomy. Since it's smaller, there's less room to push your cart through, and it's sort of crowded. Now they do have a seafood section, but it's right next to the produce, and it's like sort of in a room next to it, but there's a doorway that you can walk through. Oh my God, the smell. I'm not really a big seafood person, but the smell coming from that room reeks, man. It smells like literally rotten flesh. And that's a big turnoff to me, okay? So anywho, I decide that I need to get some meat. Like, it's time for me to pick up some chicken livers. I love chicken livers, by the way. Like, I love frying up chicken livers in the pan with veggies and herbs and all that good stuff. So right next to the stinky seafood section is the meat section. Now, when you first, push your buggy up in there, it looks like any other supermarket meat section. It looks, like they have their frozen packs of giant packs of meat all wrapped up. They've got seafood in there. They have duck. That's the only store that I've found that actually sells ground duck. And I'm going to tell you what now, I don't know if you ever ate ground duck. I have never had ground duck in my life until I moved to Cambodia. I've never seen ground duck in the grocery stores back in the United States. Duck is the bomb, okay? I like duck better than chicken. I'm just saying, you should try the ground duck. But yeah, that's just one of the perks of shopping at Macros, the ground duck. But then as you pass the frozen food aisle where the meat's all packaged, you start moving into another section, which is still part of the meat department. However, this is not anything that I've ever seen in my entire adult life or even childhood life. I have never seen this before. This is an Asian thing, evidently. I walk up and I see all these people hovering around these bins, and they're all grabbing something out of these bins, right? They're just grabbing stuff with these tongs. And then they have plastic bags and they're throwing it in there. And I'm thinking, is this more produce? Because that's normally what you would do in a produce section, right? No bueno. No bueno. So I roll up to these bins and you should have seen my eyeballs. I was just like, what the fuck is this? I freaked out, man. I was just like, if anybody could have recorded me, my face would just been. There are bins, like huge bins, this yay deep, full of meat. Each section, and I'm not talking package, I'm talking open air, just thrown into a metal bin. No wrapping whatsoever. You grab the tongs and you grab as much meat as you want, whatever the meat is, and you bag it, and then you take it to this guy that's actually behind the counter, and he'll wrap it up and weigh it on a scale and stick a sticker on it, and then you take it to the front where the cashier is and you ring it up and take it home, right? So I'm looking and there's like chicken livers in this bin, and I don't know what to say. Like, I'm at a loss of words. Like, they have chicken livers, chicken hearts, chicken thighs, chicken feet, chicken carcass, chicken everything. Anything you can think of is in and they're all separated in these bins, and there's piles and piles and piles. Like, one thing's all piles of chicken feet. And the other thing's a whole big pile of gizzards, like whatever you can think of. And then it goes to the pork section, right? And then they have blood. They even got chicken blood in big giant like chunks. I guess chicken blood's a thing out here. So I'm seeing everybody's hovering around and they're picking their meats, just like, and I start doing it. But then it was like sort of gross to me because I'm thinking, whoa, wait a minute, dude, wait a minute. As I'm digging the meat out and I'm looking in the bin, I began to question this decision I'm making here because I'm like, how old is this meat? Number one, it doesn't seem like it's refrigerated. The bins don't feel cold, but the meat is just in it. Even though it's cool, it's air conditioned in this grocery department, but that's the only way they're staying cool. So they're not frozen, they're fresh meat. And like I said, they're yay deep. How long has this meat been sitting in these bins? So what do they do with the meat after? Like when the store closes, what do they do? Do they take all the meat out of the bins and move them in a refrigerator? Or do they just leave them in the bins overnight? And I mean, a fly could land on them. Like, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes at Macro. All I know is that you can get a buttload of meat by scooping it yourself, sticking it in a plastic bag like produce, and having them weigh it, and it's dirt cheap. Compared to, I would say it's very comparable to maybe buying the same kind of meat that's hanging on a rack at somebody's street vendor, but the only difference is you're inside a building where there's no diesel or dust that's blowing on the food, right? That's the only difference. But I have to question, you got little kids coming up there. You know how kids are dirty? They pick their nose, they're poking into the meat. Or, people are just sneezing, right? So they're just sneezing on the food, on the meat. The meat's not packaged. So that's what starts running through my mind. Now, have I bought it? Have I ate the meat? Yes, I have. I have already bought a round of chicken livers from there, and I'm fine. I'm still here. I'm still alive. So, and I did it again. And as you can see, it's part of my grocery bill. And now how much did all that come to? Well, I had to get toilet paper and I had to get sponges. But if I didn't have to get that, my bill would have been about $30. It still came to under 35 bucks. It was literally, I think, $33.83. Feeds me for the entire week. So I guess the biggest question, guys, is where would you shop? Would you rather go to the supermarket that has food wrapped in a package and is more hygienic? Or would you go to the bulk store and get the meat directly out of the bin because you can maybe save $1 a pound or whatever, but it's not so hygienic? That is the question, my dear. It's the question you have to answer yourself when you go shopping at Macro. Drop me a comment. Tell me what you think. Where would you go? Why would you not go to one or the other? And are you willing to take that chance? Hey, are you getting ready to retire in Phnom Penh? I'm your girl. If you need some help, if you need any guidance, I urge you to check out my website, nextstepunknown.me. I'm glad to help you, and also you can reach me on my business email, tammy@nextstepunknown.com. If you'd like to do an interview with me, I'd love to interview you. Tell the world your story. What brought you to Phnom Penh, Cambodia? If you just want to support me and the channel, hey, I'll take that too. Buy me a cup of coffee. Got the link down below in the description. Thank you for watching.